up guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing super well. Just wanted to say a massive shout out to all of you guys who have subscribed lately. Thank you very much, it is very much appreciated. The last video had loads of comments, as I am only a small little channel, so thank you again. Today you join me for a video to discuss the top tips storing your motorcycle over the winter, or just storing your motorcycle in general. If that interests you, stick around, we'll get into it, grab yourself a coffee, let's go. I must apologise in advance before we start the video, as I have just recovered from COVID, which is not pleasant, so I do sound a bit nasally. And I was also a complete donut by not fully plugging my microphone in my helmet, so I've had to do a bit of a voiceover. But the audio quality is probably better now, so it is what it is. Anyway, first things first. One of the things I wanted to cover was fuel and liquids. So when you're storing your bike for a long period of time, the liquids, some of them are going to degrade. The petrol is probably the most important one of these, and what I would suggest is you don't let the fuel tank run dry. You don't want to do that, as all of the particles will go straight down to the bottom of your tank, potentially clogging up your fuel lines, and also if you have a carbed bike, that would be even worse, as it will block up your carbs. Now the solution to that is or what I would suggest you do is you fill up the tank with maybe above half a tank of premium quality fuel, and you go out and buy a fuel additive. Now the fuel additive will allow your fuel to remain fairly fresh, at least for the winter periods, if you're just storing your bike for a few months at a time. Now secondly, what I think you guys should do is thoroughly clean your bike. Well, now that's whether you go and clean it yourself or you take it to a professional. I would probably recommend a professional if you haven't done it before, just because I know it sounds simple and basic, but your bike needs a thoroughly good clean to get rid of all those, shitty salts and grit from the roads that just built up over the past few months. Especially if you've got a few stone chips on your bike, that could turn to rust, and that's not what you want. You want that treated, you want your bike ceramic coated, or you want it coated with something like ACF 50 or a similar product. You don't have to use ACF 50, but there's a lot of professionals out there, valets, who do bike detailing, and they will do that for you. It is quite expensive. I think my last quote I got for a ceramic coat and a full wash and wax was about £250. But it is well worth it if you're going to store your bike for a long period of time. It will definitely get rid of all that potential dirt that could cause rust. Tar sticks to your bike as well quite nastily. It's very difficult to get off. You need special solvents to get rid of it. So get it properly clean before you put it away. The next thing I'd like to discuss is how you store your bike, i.e. do you put it on a stand? Do you put it on your regular side stand? What is the best way to store it? The answer is to store it off of the rubber, off of the tyre. Now, if you store your bike outside, for example, or somewhere cold, and your tyre is in contact with the ground, over time that rubber will mould to the ground and you will have a flat spot on your tyre. And that is not what you want when you get to the summer and you have a big flat spot because the bike hasn't moved in several months. You'll get that, a bit like an unbalanced wheel feeling on your bike. So get a stand. Something like a rear paddock stand would be perfect, just to get the wheels off the ground, and also the front paddock stand. Lift the bike up and that'll be perfect. I would suggest that during the winter months or during the period that the bike is stored, that you do get it out and you do wheel it down the road, start the engine, run it, get it up to temperature. Use the brakes, especially you don't want the brakes seizing when the bike is stored. Don't just put it in a garage and forget about it. It will need to have those parts need to move. They need to stay used, even if it is just once every month or two. It will benefit you in the long run, trust me. Now, one thing I would very strongly suggest is a good quality cover. Now, some people do like to double up on the covers by using some sort of cloth underneath. I think that just prevents the condensation from building up too much. But a good quality cover will be UV protective, as UV damages paint, as most of us know, so bear that in mind. It's one thing, if you are storing a bike outside, get a cover that has a good UV protection. You don't want your paint to be discoloured when you come back in a few months' time, because even in the winter months, that UV is still hitting that cover and your lovely paint. That cover will not only protect the UV, but it will also protect your bike from all sorts of weather conditions, such as hail, rain, all the nasty stuff we get, and is a worthy investment. Before you do throw that cover on your bike, however, there is a few things you should think about. Definitely one of the things I would suggest is you cover up the exhaust holes and any other areas that insects or animals can get into. Where bikes are stored is definitely going to be a place where there's going to be insects and animals, unless you're very lucky and you can store it in your lounge, but not many of us are. As we know, our partners probably don't allow it. If you're like mine, she will definitely not allow my motorbike to be in the lounge. Trust me, I have tried. So cover up the holes, as there will be many animals who will quite happily enter your bike from the rear end, and that is not what we want. Also, it's a good idea to lube up anything on your bike, such as the chain and various other parts. Give them some oil or some WD. The chain, especially if you're just going to have it washed, is going to probably hold some moisture, so give it a good clean, give it a lubrication, and it shouldn't rust over the winter months. And once you've done those steps, you're pretty much ready to go. You just have one major thing to do now, which is take care of the battery situation. Now, you have a couple of options when it comes to the battery. You can either remove it completely, you can either disconnect it, or you can put a trickle charger on your bike. Now, if you're like me, I don't have a trickle charger. I can't plug it in. My plug won't reach my parking space, let's say. So I will probably disconnect the battery, but I'm not gonna store my bike over winter because I need to make videos for you guys. However, what I would do is disconnect the battery completely if I was to store it. The best option is probably a trickle charger, just because it maintains your battery's health throughout the time it's being stored. It takes low electricity from your bill, so it wouldn't cost you too much money, but it will keep your battery at a healthy level. And then there is no need to have to buy a new battery at the beginning of summer. Also, don't forget to hang up your gear. Your gear will also keep that moisture in, so make sure that's well tended for. Put that inside, keep it nice and warm, moisturize your leather. I think a lot of people forget to moisturize their leather. It's not something we really think about on a day-to-day basis, but you'll notice your leather goes a bit shinier over a long period of time. Same as your car seats. If you have leather car seats, moisture does it great. So moisturize that leather, give it a good clean first, and it will last you even longer, and it will keep that subtle, nice, soft feel. Trust me, it's worth it, especially if you have thousands of pounds worth of nice Dainese leathers or some nice Alpine Stars ones. Totally worth it. And that pretty much sums up the top tips from my side, guys. I hope the video was very helpful to you. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone lately for subscribing. Again, if this video was helpful for you and you enjoyed it, please press the like button. Please give me a sub. I'll much appreciate it. And until the next time, I will see you next week for another video. Ciao for now.